If you're not utilizing kettlebell swings in your clients and athletes programs, you're leaving a lot of athleticism on the table. Plus, it can make you a better runner. Growing up as an athlete, I would suffer high hamstring injuries at least once a year. And playing for Graceland University at the varsity level, because of the volume and the intensity required, those happen a little bit more frequently. Had I learned kettlebells, how to use kettlebells, or at least kettlebell swings, early in my career, I probably could have staved off a lot of hamstring issues. Because of course, after playing competitive soccer, after utilizing those in my programming, I never got a hamstring strain ever again. And not only that, it actually made me better at running. So it improved my efficiency, my hip drive, my breathing, my mechanics, my efficiency. All of it came with learning how to swing kettlebells really effectively. Unfortunately, many athletes are doing their kettlebell swings wrong and not getting the maximum benefit from it. So in this video, we're going to clean up some common mistakes so that you can quickly get the results that they're looking for. So stick around, get out your notepad, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Ballistics. Now we're going to apply some speed and velocity to our resistance training. So we're going to go through kettlebell swings. Kettlebell swings are a must, in my opinion, in any program, rehab, because it is full body posterior chain, stretching, acceleration, everything that we use for speed and propulsion is on the backside, and the kettlebell gets it. So we want to make sure that our prerequisites are set. So we're going to go through a little bit of our global movement scan. So Matt's going to do a toe touch, making sure that we have some cleared flexion. No pain with that, Matt? Good. Come on back up. We're going to make sure that extension is clean. No problems there. And we're going to do some global rotation to the right and then to the left. Looks good, feels good. Should have been in Hollywood. Awesome. Okay, so before we swing, we have to make sure the deadlift is locked in. So Matt is going to show us a nice deadlift. We're going to do 5 of these to prime the system. Okay, and come on back up. If we can't deadlift, if your client cannot deadlift cleanly with a hip hinge, then we go back and we do some corrective exercise. Maybe we got to do a dowel on the back. Maybe we got to get the butt up against the wall. But when we are doing a deadlift, it's got to be a pure hip hinge, not a squat, because we do not want to squat with a kettlebell swing. The arc will get too big and it can potentially pull us into places we don't want to be. So deadlift looked great. Okay. Now the difference between the deadlift and the swing setup is the placement of where the kettlebell is. So Matt is going to pull the kettlebell out in front. Okay. And what that does is when he goes to engage and hike it through, he can tilt it and the first pull becomes the first swing. Now he's going to swing to chest level. We do not go overhead. Why? Because if I swing a kettlebell overhead with 2 hands, what happens to my low back? What happens to my shoulders? They get pinchy and there's no use up here. If we're going to go overhead, we go into snatches. So Matt is going to tilt the kettlebell. The setup is the same as the deadlift. The shoulders are packed, core is set, glutes feels tension, feet are grounded. Now he's going to do 1 single swing, so he's going to do a hike through, stand up, good, back down, and park it. So we want to do singles first because we want to get those repetitions perfect. So let's do a couple singles there, Matt. So grip, reset, sniff, good. And back down. So he's doing the breath matching. When we hike, we want to sniff, we want to pressurize the system, and when we get up to the top, the kettlebell is floating. When the kettlebell floats, it's safe to release some of that pressure, but we don't want to release all of it. Think of a boxer, right? They strike the opponent, but they make that little noise, and they're releasing some of the pressure, but not all of it, because the power comes from the hip and the core. So Matt's going to do a couple singles here. Sniff, grip. Nice, good. So these are really good. Now let's just say Matt was squatting the deadlift, or let's just say Matt was squatting the swing, and his knees are coming a little bit too far forward. So Matt's going to give me a couple of swings there, and I'm going to say, don't let your knee hit the dowel here. Good. Okay. Good. Again, pull. Good. Because if he squats it, the arc, it's going to create this large arc, and the kettlebell is going to come below the knees. If the kettlebell comes below the knees, it's going to pull us into the back. We want to keep it nice and tight into the body, and we want to keep the kettlebell in the upper end of the triangle, which is just around the knees. So let's do a few more of those there, Matt. So grip, set up, good. And we want to think power. We're driving those hips through. There's a delay. Okay, a couple more. Good. Now let's say that Matt was shorting the swing. So when I say by shorting the swing, he's not coming all the way back through and he's lifting a lot with the shoulders. What we do is we set up a target behind him. Give me a little swing there. And I want to hear you hit the stick here, Matt. Good. Good. Again. Good. Nice. One more. Good. Good. So now he's got that auditory feedback and he can now feel how low he should go into the swing before reversing it. Let's just say Matt's getting a little ahead of himself and he is not being patient with the kettlebell coming back down and the swing is starting to get below the legs. So show me what that looks like there, Matt, so everyone can see. So Matt is going to release the hips too soon and it's pulling him down. Give me a couple of swings there. I know you're okay and safe to do this. Bad swing. Yep. Okay. So we got that kettlebell. He's releasing the hips too soon, and that arc is getting way too big, and he's going to lose control. He can't utilize the tension of the hamstrings. So what we mean by we're getting ahead of the swing is when the weight's coming down, the hips are releasing too soon, and the hands fall below, and that puts a lot of pull into the backside. Now, if I'm patient with it, I like playing chicken, is I'm coming down, and as soon as I feel the arms hit my thorax, I quickly release the hip flexors. So now I can keep the swing attached to my body and not way out here dangling. As soon as the arms are disconnected, there's a lot of torque happening through the low back. Okay? So Matt is going to correct that, and the way we can do that is let's just do some slow-mo. Without the weight, we're going to pretend we have the kettlebell in. So we'll start down in the bottom position. We're going to hike through. Inhale up. Okay. Floats, locks, wait for it to come down, wait. Hits the chest, quickly release. So just performing the movement in slow motion without the weight can give your client that feeling of, oh, this is when the weight, or this is when the kettlebell's supposed to come through. Okay, what we can also do is we can do a towel swing. Because the delay of the towel with the kettlebell, it'll emphasize utilizing those hips first, not later. So Matt's going to set up the swing same way. Kettlebell's out in front. Got a nice solid grip on the towel. This also works grip strength, so you can do pull-ups with the towel to work grip. He's going to hike it through. He's engaged. Sniff. Grip. Good. So now he's got a little bit of a delay. He's got to be patient for that towel to come down. If he releases too soon, that kettlebell is going to smash into my floor and I'm going to be upset. Grip, sniff. Good. There we go. Okay. So the hands are staying in the upper triangle. Even though the kettlebell is coming down, it's working on that timing of when he needs to release those hips. Good. Give us a couple swings there, Matt. Yep. Just do continuous. Yep. So that we can see. Good, 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 good. So you can see the kettlebell floats. He's got to wait for the hands to come in before he's allowed to release those hips. Very nice. Good. Now, what if your client is getting a little extended? Maybe they're not utilizing the glutes or the anterior core or the breath matching. So we just take away the kettlebell and we go into our shoulder touches. So Matt, I'm just going to get you into a front support position. So they're not really utilizing that lock in the top of the swing and they're getting pitched into the low back. So go up into a push-up position. Good. So Matt's got his glutes locked, shoulders, and he's going to do some shoulder taps. Okay. Good. And back down, switch. Okay. And he's going to do some breath matching at the same time. So he's going to go, okay. So touch, there you go. Good. Okay. I'm going to give him some taps here to give some feedback and making sure that he's locking up everything. I can give a little push on the pelvis here to try and drop him in. So he's got to fire that up a little bit harder. I can try and twist him. He's got to resist that. Nice. Okay. So now he can feel all those muscles he's supposed to utilize in the top of the swing. On the back side, we're just going to do some glute bridges. Okay. So we need those glutes to lock in at the top of the swing. So as he sets the core, drives the feet, couple of glute bridges, up and down. Okay? Good. Okay? We can even use a band across the hips to emphasize and just really wake up those glutes in the top there. But the glute bridge and the push-up position is the top of the swing, and we need those muscles working together to protect the spine. Before doing continuous swings, we're just going to get a little rhythm going. Okay, we're going to do a little pendulum swing. So Matt's just going to deadlift the kettlebell up, and we're just going to give a little, like little baby swings. Okay, just to get the rhythm going before we start to link up one swing after the other. Make them a little bit bigger, and match your breathing. There we go. It's a little pendulum. Okay, he can start to feel things connect. As he gets more comfortable, he can make them a little bit bigger. Okay, and as they get higher up in the front, he's got to sit back a little further. Okay, there we go. Good. Good. Okay, and lastly, I'm just going to come in and give him some little taps, making sure he's locking in and he's protecting and driving with the right pieces. I hope you enjoyed the video. Coming back to when I was learning to train and when I was training for the Russian kettlebell certification, we had a test called the snatch test. So we had to take a 24-kilogram kettlebell, we had to swing it up overhead, 100 repetitions in 5 minutes. Now, I had to do this in February, so it was cold, it was in my garage, and it was miserable. But when it came to soccer season, I was still playing competitive soccer. When it came to the following soccer season, we'd start our run, and typically 2 laps around the soccer field, my low back would start to cramp, I'd start to get stitches in the diaphragm, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can keep running, and I'm not winded. I'm not getting the cramps or the fatigue that I was once getting. And then we came the tryouts. So it was a 2-hour tryout. Normally by an hour in, my feet are sore, my back is sore, everything starts to get a little bit cranky, and I didn't have any pain. And the only thing I could attribute it to was getting really good at swinging a kettlebell. It made me efficient. I realized that all the muscles that the kettlebell swing trains, it's all on the backside, right? It improved endurance in the spine stabilizers, it improved hip drive, it improved timing, it improved efficiency, it improved my breathing. It did all these things. So that one exercise carried over to just overall athleticism. I wasn't getting the cranky body after an hour and a half of training that I once had before, and I could keep running without any issues. So I found that very interesting. And when I find a tool or when I find an exercise that carries over to athleticism or just movement in general, I get super excited. So take what you've learned in this video, apply it to yourself, apply it to your clients, and you'll be amazed at how quickly they start to improve their overall athletic ability and mobility. So if you love using kettlebells and you want to prescribe them, but you're not quite sure on how to implement them to their maximum benefit, well, head over to amtcertified.ca to find out more, or just stay tuned for more tips and tactics on how to utilize them for optimal performance.